Hello, and my name is Thomas Chavez, and this is my Session 3 Early Church presentation. Now, I was going to look at the town of Antioch, because it is brought up quite a few times in the book of Acts and within the chapters that we read. Now, where was Antioch located? What was the culture like? Now, if we're looking at Antioch, and I know this map is a little small in the side here, in modern day, it is Turkey. It is Turkey, Syria. That's where it was located at. In the time of Acts, it was just north of Judea and was also part of Syria. Now, this town was also on a coast. It also was full of travelers. There was people going through, taking goods from one place to another, so there was a lot of foot traffic there. This area had a few different religions in the area. There were also a lot of Jewish leaders in this area. There were a lot of Gentiles. And the Gentiles were originally not part of the Jewish culture because they were not the chosen people. But, God did call with Jesus to go and preach the good news to the Gentiles so that they were a part of what Jesus had done. So again, it was located just north of Judea in about around Syria, coastal town that had a lot of foot traffic. Now, what was the significance of the town? Antioch was a busy town. This place had people transporting goods to and from the town, through the town, taking it back and forth. There were a lot of Gentiles here, a numerous amount of Gentiles that Paul had converted. The foot traffic came through the town. It was a perfect place to help the spread of the good news of Jesus. If you think that you have people coming through a place and you have this good news to tell them and you preach to them and they decide to believe Jesus, now these people are going to leave this town and also go tell different amounts of people on their way at their destination about what they heard. And then either those people are going to believe or they're going to bring them back to find Paul and Barnabas to have them preach to them and talk to them about the good news. There were amounts of Gentiles that came to the second teaching of Paul and Barnabas in the synagogue. It says that on the Sabbath, they were in the synagogue, and one of the Jewish leaders asked if they wanted to say anything. So Paul got up to preach the good news. Well, there was so much excitement about this. And the next Sabbath, there were twice as many Gentiles as there were Jews. And that was just a big accomplishment because, again, these Gentiles in the Jewish culture were not part of it. They were not chosen. And so in Christianity, they were a part of the people that Jesus came to save. They were a part of the people that were allowed to worship Jesus, to worship God, because Jesus came for them as well. And in the town of Antioch, this is where the term Christian first came about. And it was where the term Christian started. In all this good stuff, the conversion of Gentiles, the good news being preached, all this foot traffic, there were people who tried to stop the spread of it as well. The Jewish leaders, Herod, there was a false prophet named Bar Jesus. And at the same time, I also don't believe they tried to or they were doing it on purpose, but the Jewish believers also tried to stop the spread of the good news. The Jewish leaders who still did not believe that Jesus was the true Messiah, they would be there, they'd run them out of town, they would try and stone Paul and Barnabas, and they would just push them out and push them out. Herod was afraid of anyone else that called themselves kings and would cause an uproar, so he tried to imprison and kill some of the apostles. Bar Jesus, this false prophet, was with the governor and tried to stop him from believing and was contradicting the words of Paul. He was there and he was trying to stop the governor from believing. The Jewish believers, again, I don't think they were doing this on purpose, but they were trying to convert the Gentile believers to the Mosaic law traditions. And they were trying to get them to be circumcised and learn all this, and they kept saying that they should convert to the Mosaic law, even though Jesus came to be the faith, to be what made us right by God, and not by our good works, but by Jesus. Now, there was not so much resolution with the Jewish leaders, but when Paul and Barnabas or any other apostle were pushed out by them, they came back and they still preached and they still converted Jewish people and Gentiles alike. Again, Herod tried to imprison and kill the apostles, but God protected them for the time to spread his son's message. God helped Peter get out of prison. Like, that is amazing stuff. The false prophet, Paul tells him in Acts 13:10, then he said, "You son of the devil, full of every sort of deceit and fraud, an enemy of all that is good, will you never stop persevering the true ways of the Lord?" Then the Lord made the man blind, and the governor became a believer. He saw the power of God. He saw the Holy Spirit within Paul, and he believed, he knew that God was all-powerful. And what resolved the Jewish believers? The Council of Jerusalem is what helped stop them of the harmful ways of the spread. Because out of that council, they gave the Gentile believers the 3 things to follow, which were food, do not consume food by idols, do not eat the food of strangled animals or the blood, and your sexual immorality. Like, be sexually pure, and the food that you eat, these are the 3 things that they came and told them, so that is what resolved it. Now, what was the final word? I think for the Jewish believers, what made it easier for them to accept the Gentiles was the letters from the apostles. It tells them that we need to stop telling our Gentile brothers and sisters these things, that they need to be circumcised, that they need to follow the Mosaic law. But in order, they need to do not consume the foods offered by idols, do not consume food by strangled animals, and their sexual immorality. This set the Jewish believers and the Gentile believers right on the same page of Jesus was the only way to be right by God, not by our works, but by the faith that we have in Jesus and the love that he showed to us.